Procedural justice. The presidential pardon powers are derived from the U.S. Constitution, specifically Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1. This clause gives the president the authority to grant pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. Now here's something that reminds us it's not just what you decide, but how you get there that counts. Think of it as the recipe book for fairness. It's based on this revolutionary idea that people will accept decisions they don't like if they believe the process was fair, rather like accepting a loss in sports when you know the referee was playing it straight. The key ingredients are deceptively simple. Voice, giving people their say before decisions are made. Transparency, showing your work, like a math teacher insists. Neutrality, keeping the playing field level. Respect, treating everyone like they matter, because they do. What's fascinating is how this works everywhere, from courtrooms to kindergartens. Whether you're a judge handling a complex case or parents settling a dispute over the last cookie, the principles remain the same. Everyone speak, explain your reasoning, be consistent, and maintain dignity. The real magic. It turns out people care more about being heard than getting their way. A rejected permit with a clear explanation often generates less anger than an approved one that seemed arbitrary. It's like democracy's operating system. Not very flashy, but essential for everything else to run properly. After all, what good is justice if no one trusts how it's delivered? Opposing side. Presidential pardons. Democracy's little monarchical souvenir. What a delightfully contradictory concept we have here. Picture this. In our carefully balanced system of checks and balances, we've maintained this curious power that would make King George III feel right at home. It's essentially a get-out-of-jail-free card signed with an executive fountain pen. The pardon power sits in our democracy like a crown jewel in a department store, simultaneously magnificent and somehow out of place. It's where our noble ideals about equal justice under law meet the reality that sometimes, just sometimes, one person can decide justice needs a coffee break. What makes it truly fascinating is how it transforms over time, from Alexander Hamilton's vision of mercy in cases of unfortunate guilt to modern presidents stuffing pardons into their farewell goodie bags like party favors at the end of their terms. The real kicker. It's absolutely unreviewable. In a system where even parking tickets can be appealed, this power stands alone like a legal unicorn, majestic, unquestionable, and perhaps slightly mythical in its scope. Think of it as democracy's escape valve, or perhaps its pressure point, where the machinery of justice can be overridden by the stroke of a pen, for better or worse. Usually depending entirely on whose pen it is and whose freedom is being restored. We've preserved this little piece of monarchy in our republic, like keeping a royal scepter in the Oval Office drawer, just in case democracy needs a touch of the absolute. Presidential pardons. The royal remnant where justice bows to mercy, or perhaps to political convenience. A power that transforms guilt into freedom with a signature. Democracy's royal prerogative, where one pen outweighs all courts. Supporting side. Presidential pardons. What a remarkable instrument of hope and renewal in our democracy. Let's look at its brighter purpose. Think of it as society's reset button, a powerful tool that recognizes our capacity for change and redemption. It's democracy's way of saying that human stories don't have to end with mistakes. They can begin anew with understanding and forgiveness. This extraordinary power serves as a bridge between justice and mercy, where wisdom can temper the rigid letter of the law. It's like having a safety valve of compassion built right into our constitutional framework, acknowledging that sometimes people deserve a fresh start. Consider how it's been used throughout history. To heal national wounds after conflicts, to correct overly harsh sentences, to recognize genuine rehabilitation, and to unite families separated by legal barriers. It's turned former offenders into community leaders, advocates, and living testimonies to the power of second chances. The beauty lies in its transformative potential. How a single act of executive mercy can not only change one life, but ripple outward to affect families, communities, and sometimes even the nation's understanding of justice itself. Our founders built this tool of compassion into the very fabric of our government. It stands as a reminder that even at the highest levels of law and order, there's always room for hope, growth, and new beginnings. Presidential pardons, where hope renews. A beacon of second chances, where wisdom meets compassion. Through this gift of renewal, justice finds its heart, where mercy transforms lives and hope takes flight anew. If you were part of a jury, what choice would you make?